Hey everybody, welcome to 2022. Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas to us all, okay? Is everything good? Is everything okay? We're only on January 2nd. We're only on the second day. You know, Betty White did not die so that 2022 could start off crappy, all right? So is everyone good? All right. Actually, I'm going to start off by rest in peace, Betty White. Like, no, seriously. Like, I was a big fan of Craig Ferguson's Late Late Show, and Betty White would appear on there frequently. Like, they were good friends, and it was always just a joy to see her on there. And also, I've seen some episodes of The Golden Girls. It was a good show. You know, Golden Girls. Yeah, all right. So, I remember yesterday, I was, well, not yesterday, but on New Year's Eve when she died, I was driving to a wedding, and my friend who was getting married was like, "Did you hear Betty White died?" And I honestly played it off like a joke. I'm like, there's no way. Nah, you're okay. Yeah, sure. Betty White died on New Year's Eve, 17 days before she turned 100. Sure, buddy. Okay. And then later we get to the take pictures for the wedding and everyone's like, did you hear Betty White died? I'm like, that actually happened? And like the rest of the night, I was like, man, Betty White's gone. Wow. All right. Well, anyway, rest in peace, Betty White. All right. So anyway, welcome to part 2 of the Straw Hats Invade Marijois. All right. So that's it. I don't have really a good transition for that one. So here we go. I should make a video on Betty White if she existed in the One Piece world. Oh wait. That should be Isekai number 5. If Betty White got isekai'd into the One Piece world. Yonko level higher? I'm thinking? I don't know. Anyway, okay. So the first part of this, you know, the Straw Hats invading Marijois kind of gave the general setup, so I'm not going to go into it again. You can go watch that video, part 1. I'll put it up here in a card. And that was kind of like the entry into Marijois, like how they were actually going to get into, you know, the Holy Land and, you know, rise to the top of the Red Line, get through the Red Port, you know, the revolutionaries were going to help them out, all that jazz. I'm also realizing at this point there's a lot of parallels to the Soul Society arc of Bleach because it was divided into like the entry and then the rescue portions, and it's like, okay, this is the entry into the Holy Land of Marijois, and now it's to the rescue of Sabo and Vivi and possibly Lindbergh and whoever else might be captured and trapped in the dungeons of Castle Pangaea, right? So we're doing a Bleach One Piece crossover as well. Will Luffy save Rukia? Will Zoro achieve Bankai? Will Usopp, actually, you know what? Usopp should be a Quincy. I mean, that's straight up, because he's got the slingshots and the projectiles. Okay, will Usopp release his Kabuto and activate, you know, Soge King Let's Steal, the final form of the Sniper King? I don't know, maybe. Actually, that makes me think. I know we're going off on a lot of tangents here, but, you know, it's the beginning of the year, so why not? Check out a channel called D Not So Good Artist. I'll put a link to it below. It's an awesome channel where this guy draws crossovers between different manga. Okay, so right now I know he's doing a series where he's drawing all of the captains of the Gotei 13 from Bleach as captains of pirate crews in the One Piece world. So he'll draw, like, you know, this is Byakuya, the captain, and Renji, his vice captain, and then their ship. He'll draw like a ship, and he's like a really good artist, and he can actually encapsulate, like, what if Oda decided, or what if Kubo decided to draw like a pirate-themed manga, or vice versa. He also drew the Straw Hats if they were the Espada from Bleach. So go check out that channel. Phenomenal stuff. Anyway, okay, so getting to the actual plot of the video now. All right. I give to you Exhibit A. This is volume 90 of One Piece. I spent the last hour and a half rereading chapter 906 in this volume about 20 times, okay? Because there was no map of Marijois, all right, of the Holy Land itself. We have a general map of the Red Line here, which features the 2 red ports on either side, right? And the red ports rise up to the top where the Holy Land is. And we get general locations, like we know Castle Pangaea, which is the giant castle right in the center. That's where the Room of Authority is, where the Gorosei gather. That's where Eam lives, and the Flower Room, and the dungeon where he kept the giant straw hat. Might have been Joy Boy's straw hat. We also know some other locations in the castle. I made a geography as everything on that. And we know about, like, the domain of the gods, which is, of course, the area where all of the celestial dragons live. But we don't have, like, a definitive map of the Holy Land itself, okay? So I made one. Why not? All right, let's pull it up. Okay. All right, so some of this stuff is based off of the angles and things of Marie Joie and Castle Pangaea that we see in Chapter 90, Volume 90, and Chapter 906. Go check it out. But let's just do the overview here of what we're looking at. Okay, so first off, we got the lower realm and the upper realm. That's what the Celestial Dragons refer to the world as. Pretty much the upper realm is Marie Joie and the domain of the gods. Everything else on the Blue Sea world is considered the lower realm, okay, because they are the gods and everyone else are just like peons in comparison, okay? So we have the red line, and then we have the two red ports on either side, the Paradise side and the New World side, that rise up with the gondolas, okay? So as soon as you arrive at the top of the red line, you have to walk up these huge staircases, okay? So do you see those little pathways at either side? So there's two gondolas on either red port, so there's 4 in total, which means there's 4 pathways, 2 on the Paradise side, 2 on the New World side. You have to ascend these staircases, and then there's these 2 gates at either side. So the white lines that you see, those are all gates from what I can see from reading the chapter, okay? So you arrive at the red port, you get on the gondola, you go up to the top of the red line, you walk up this giant staircase on in the rock. On the rock of the red line, as you're ascending the staircase, there are these giant statues. They weren't really referenced on who they were, but I'm assuming they were the 20 kings that founded the world government during the Void Century, okay? And so on either side of each, port, there are like, okay, you go up one stairwell, there's 10, and then the other stairwell, there's 10, and that's repeated on both sides. I'm assuming that's what they are, okay? Once you get to the top of the staircase, there's a gate that has to be opened, and then you can take the travelators. So the gray lines here are the travelators, those things that are powered with slaves, where you just step on it. It's like a conveyor belt, but underneath the conveyor belt, because it's Marie Joie, there's like a bunch of slaves that are literally pushing it, and people are like whipping them down there, like, not too fast, not too slow, the perfect, appropriate, traveling speed, so people can take in their surroundings. And then there's slaves down there in prison attire that are just like, oh god, this sucks, so that's the travelators. We also have an artificial forest that was mentioned to be artificial because Shirahoshi was like, is this a forest? And the guard was like, yes, it is an artificial one, okay? Obviously, this forest did not normally exist on the top of the red line. It was stated recently when we learned about King and the Lunarians that the red line was kind of inhospitable, and the fact that the Lunarians lived up there was a testament to their resilience and they could live and adapt to any environment. That was like a big deal, right? So this forest was artificial, all right? So the travelators, as they go closer to Castle Pangaea, which is, I assume, right in the center of the red line. If you're going to build a castle to be fortified at the top of the world, you want to make sure it's not on the edge of the red line. For one thing, you don't want the red line to collapse and the whole thing to fall off the edge, but you also want to keep it in the center. So if there were to be like an invading army that were to get to the top of the red line, let's say an army were to just overthrow the red port, take the gondolas up, you still want like at least a little bit of a buffer zone so the castle is not right at the very tip top. So I'm imagining it's right dead center in the middle of the red line. It was mentioned multiple times in the story that Castle Pangaea sits at the center of the world. Okay, so that's what they mean by that, okay? So there's also some rivers. There's a river that goes along the side of the travelators, and it kind of like, I'm assuming, this is one of the things I'm assuming here, there's an entire moat that goes all the way around the domain of the gods. So the domain of the gods is that massive city, and we've seen it even as far back as the first time we see Marie Joie. We see this massive city right in front of it, okay? And that city is the domain of the gods. That makes up the vast majority of Marie Joie, of the Holy Land, okay? And so that's, of course, where all the Celestial Dragons live, and it's huge. And it has to be, of course, because the Celestial Dragons live there. This is literally a group of people that think of themselves as deities that have been, like, reincarnated on Earth, that they lord over every other form of life on the planet, that they walk around in spacesuits because they cannot dare to breathe the air of the common folk, okay? So can you imagine the places these people actually live, right? The domain of the gods has to be huge because there's mansions everywhere. There's not an ordinary, like, 2-3-story house. Even a 3-story house would be pretty extravagant, but no. Every single house is a mansion. Their freaking back sheds are probably the size of most of, like, normal houses in our world, if not bigger. Back vac sheds, implying that they actually do like their own lawn work or whatever. Yeah, they don't. Their pool houses are probably bigger than like a 3 or 4 story house, okay? And you know the kind of stuff that usually happens there is just like, hello there, wife. Hello there, husband. Yes, I see the neighbors across the street there have added an extra 4 stories onto their house. Now their mansion has 12 stories. Ours only has 6. It's like, I shall contact the construction workers today. I shall contact the slave crew today, and they will add another 10 stories onto our house. He's like, yes, that sounds lovely. It's that kind of stuff. I'm like, solid gold, diamond-encrusted toilets, sinks, like the doghouse is like the size of like, I don't know, a 4-star hotel or something. Like, it's that kind of crap all the time, right? And you know what? From what we see with the Celestial Dragons, and of course it's all done with slave labor, of course, that's the whole point of Marijois. Like, there's literally an underground filled with slaves. I wonder if the Straw Hats and the Revolutionaries could possibly take advantage of the fact that there are a bunch of slaves in Marijois to maybe help liberate the whole people. I'm wondering if that could happen. Maybe, possibly. We'll get to that in a second, actually. But it could be something ridiculous where it's like after they're done adding an extra 5 stories onto their mansion, the Celestial Dragon could be like, I don't actually enjoy having a house that tall. Knock off like 3 stories, but I want the pool on the roof. And the slave crew has to go and do it because they ordered it. It's like, actually, I don't like the pool on the roof. Actually, my daughter for her birthday would like a Ferris wheel on the roof of our house. So remove the pool and add the Ferris wheel. Post haste. And then they go and do that. It's like, actually, she doesn't want a Ferris wheel. Could you install a roller coaster? And if you think that's at all like hyperbole or exaggeration, literally, Tequila Wolf, a giant bridge to essentially nowhere, has been under construction for 700 years. Nobody knows where they're building it to. It's just that 700-something years ago, a Celestial Dragon ordered there to be a bridge built from one location to another, and nobody even knows where they're going. It's just building the bridge. Honestly, I made a Tequila Wolf video. You can check that out. But I think the origin of that was literally there was one Celestial Dragon way back in the day that was like, I don't feel like taking a ship to that other island on the other side of the ocean. Could you build a bridge so I could walk there, or I could be, well, not walk, but I could be carted there in my carriage? It's like, well, it basically would be like a Celestial Dragon living in Hawaii was like, can you build a bridge to New Zealand? And of course, in the world of One Piece, the Celestial Dragons are God. Their order is law. It's a decree. So it's like, absolutely, we will get to work on this bridge from Hawaii to New Zealand. And it's like 700 years later, it's still under construction. Long after the Celestial Dragon that ordered it is, of course, dead, okay? That's actually a very interesting question. I wonder, because the Celestial Dragons view themselves as gods, how do they handle it when one of them dies? Like, how do they explain that away? Either they have to really know that they're not gods, or they have to view it like, oh, that was just his physical body has disintegrated, but now he will become the god in the new realm. It's like you are now a deity in this other plane of existence kind of situation. Maybe, I don't know. You will join the 20 kings that founded the world government, and you'll be the supreme ruler. I don't know how it goes. It might be some North Korea thing where it's like, technically speaking, like Kim Il-sung, the original founder of North Korea, is still technically the founder of North Korea. Like, he's still the ruler because he's like the eternal emperor or whatever, because even though he's been dead for decades, same situation there. Maybe it's something like that. But anyway, so yeah, that's the situation with the domain of the gods. It's just filled with mansions and like literally like diamond-encrusted streets and whatever, okay? I also put a lake in the domain of the gods because assuming that they of course don't like to breathe the same air as the commoners, I would imagine water is the same way. So they would probably have a sparkling lake that only the Celestial Dragons can drink from. They might say it's like the Fountain of Youth or some bullshit, but it's something like that probably. Also, I'm not a botanist. The most I know about botany is that 30-minute video I made about trees a while back, but I'm assuming if you're going to make an artificial forest, essentially you're terraforming this barren rock of the Red Line. It would basically like terraform terraforming Mars, essentially. I'm assuming you're going to need a lot of water to make that happen, so there's probably other lakes and reservoirs around the forest and rivers and streams. The water is probably recycled, you know, because there's no natural lakes on top of the red line, and it might even be so high that even like, you know, the clouds doesn't actually rain at Marijois maybe often. There's a lot of mist there though in the forest, so probably like artificial water treatment plants and stuff. And maybe this is the water that, like, you know, the government workers and the regular guards drink from, and like the minimal amount of water that they would give the slaves. You know, that's where that all water comes from, because you have to have water in order to live somewhere. You gotta have a lot of water. Okay, so that's probably the basic setup there. But yeah, that's the layout I basically have for Marijois. This is not exact, Oda. I hope, actually, that's another reason I hope the Straw Hats will go there and we have an arc there, so we can actually have a full detailed map of Marijois proper. But for what right now, I think this will work okay. So now, at long last, well into the second part of this video, this is going to probably have to be a 3-part series. Like, it's going to have to be. Whatever, 3 parts. As many parts as it takes to make this arc happen. I'll make a 13-part video, Oda. Watch me. Okay, that's it. Okay, so we had Geography is Everything for 1 year, and then Reference Tables were another year. Isekai was last year. This year is all going to be about multi-part videos. We're going to have, like, you know, like 10-part video series. That's how we're going to do it in 2022. Okay. But now we finally get into the infiltration. Okay, so I really like the idea. I brought this up last time, and actually some people added upon this, and this was really cool. I like the idea of doing a pincer attack, because if you just look at the map here, and by the way, I'll leave a link in the description. You can download this as a reference if you want, down to the Google Drive. But anyway, as you can see, there's the red port on the Paradise side and the red port on the New World side. Well, the smart thing to do, and then Fishman Island is right under it, and Fishman Island, of course, you know, Luffy doesn't technically, you know, control it. It's like unofficially it's his island, okay, or he's, you know, protecting it, right? And that's what he declared to Big Mom, right? Well, obviously, King Neptune and the Neptune brothers, Shirahoshi, they're all allies of the Straw Hats, so they can actually, maybe the revolutionaries and the Straw Hats can rendezvous at Fishman Island, and they could be like, okay, we'll figure out this plan in order to attack Marijois, get Sabo, Vivi back, and everybody. So the possibility of them splitting and doing a pincer attack is very high. And so if Dragon was the one heading up this operation, and I understand Luffy, of course, just runs into chaos and just starts attacking, because that's what Luffy does, even with a plan, you know? So they had a plan at Eni's lobby. What did Luffy do? He just jumped off the Rocket Man and started punching people. Everybody had a plan at Wano, and Law had the plan, and he was telling Luffy about the plan. What did they do? They just jumped in and started fighting. That's what they do, okay? But Dragon also being Luffy's dad might actually, you know, work here. Like, Dragon might understand. Maybe in his younger years, Dragon was just as brash as Luffy was, and Dragon has sort of calmed down and become more stoic and more tactical over the years. So what if the plan is like, okay, Luffy, go crazy, go wild? Because Luffy's going to do it no matter what. Luffy's going to, whatever his orders are, Luffy's going to end up just jumping in and punching people anyway, right? And just charging right forward. He's like, okay, we'll just incorporate that into the plan then. So the pincer attack strategy is there is a distraction team, and then there's a stealth rescue team, all right? The distraction team goes up, infiltrates the red port on one side, and then when they get to the top of, you know, the red line at Marijois, like, let's say it's the New World side, all of the guards and the cipher pole and the world government officials and everybody will rush to that side and be like, Marijois has been breached! Marijois, the pirates are coming! The pirates are coming, right? It's like Usopp's, you know, fables, but it turns out to be true. It's like, holy crap! And then they all go rush to that side. I'll tell you what right now, dude, if you got Luffy over there, Zoro, Ivankov off to one side, all attacking, like, raiding Marijois, the other gate, the other port is probably going to be relatively, like, you know, like, I don't know how much, like, manpower they have up at Marijois in terms of, like, a fortified army. There are guards. We saw the guards at Castle Pangaea. Cypherpole is up there because we saw Lucci, Kaku, and Stussy give the orders from, it looked like Castle Pangaea, like a nice little office they were staying in, so they're up there right now. I don't know if they have, like, a whole army ready to go at any given time, right? There's the slaves, but hold off on that. I have an idea on what they're going to do with that, okay? Actually, it's pretty interesting, involving one of the Revolutionary Army members, okay? But yeah, what if Dragon's like, let's do a pincer attack, distraction team on that side of the red line, and the stealth and rescue operation on this side. Okay, now who's going to go on each? It's not just going to be the Straw Hats one side, Revolutionaries one side. They're going to split up their forces, okay? So I have a list here of the group that I think is going to be joining in on this battle, on this operation, should they choose to undertake it. Okay, so first off, you got the Straw Hats. You would say 10 of them. However, I'm actually going to include Yamato on this list because I think somebody is going to join the Straw Hats. So I'm going to write down Yamato as the 11th member of the Straw Hat crew. So 11 members of the Straw Hats, right? And over here on the Revolutionary Army side, we have Dragon, because Dragon has to go here. I mean, Sabo, is the second in command, but honestly, yeah, Sabo might very well be like a son to Dragon, more so than Luffy. I mean, Sabo grew up with Dragon. And the idea also that Sabo has his signature technique is the Dragon Claw that he used to, like, wreck Cordadia Coliseum. He might have learned that from Dragon. That might be Dragon's signature hockey move. Sabo can level buildings with it. Dragon might be able to crack a mountain with that damn thing, right? You just never know. Koala and Hack have to go because it was revealed in an SBS. Those three were like best friends in their training days, okay? Koala's a little bit older than Sabo, but they were around the same age when they joined the Revolutionary Army, and Hack was the one that taught them Fishman karate. Robin as well. So, Koala and Hack have to also be here in this operation. Ivankov and Inazuma, I would love to see those guys in action again. It's been a while. I love Impel Down. It's my favorite arc of One Piece, and Ivankov and Inazuma are a big part of that, so I would love to see them in action again. Then we have Bello Betty, who stayed behind at Kamabaka. Bello Betty did not go to Marijois with the crew like Sabo and Morley and everybody, right? She stayed behind. And we also have Bello Betty's second in command, her lieutenant, Ahiru, okay? That was the girl with the metal prosthetic, all right? Then we have, okay, the debate is whether or not Karasu, Morley, and Lindbergh managed to escape Marijois. If we're assuming that headline in the newspaper was like, Sabo killed or Sabo captured, actually, this is a minor tangent, but it is relevant. A lot of people were saying, what if the story in the newspaper was not Sabo was killed, because they would be able to easily confirm that with Vivre cards. What if it was something crazy like Sabo killed Vivi? Or killed Cobra or something. Like second in command of the Revolutionary Army, Sabo slays Princess Nefeltari Vivi in cold blood. That was like the first headline or whatever. And that would make it more complicated, something that Dragon said, we have to confirm this. Don't jump to conclusions. This is Morgan's after all. He prints the most sensationalist things, but it was something enough to shock them, okay? The only thing there is that the reaction did seem to be like straight up like they thought Koala. They thought like Koala seemed to think that Sabo was straight up dead because she was crying quite a bit. I don't know if she would have that same reaction because like Koala's never met Vivi or anything like that. So I don't know if it would be that level of a reaction, but still might be something akin to that. But let's assume, yeah, Sabo is captured. What about Morley, Karasu, and Lindbergh? They all three of them have means to escape Marijois and the Red Line. But I think the one that's the most likely to get away is Karasu. He can literally turn himself into a murder of crows and just fly away. That's how he got up there. That's how he can get down. Karasu can literally just, free fall off the side of the Red Line, poof, turn into crows, and just fly away to wherever he needs to go. Also, logistical question involving Karasu's Devil Fruit, which I made a video about this a while back. But, so if he turns into like 30 crows, it's a little bit more than the 2 crows, sorry, Rick, but like the 30 crows, would he have like 30 sets of eyes? So could he turn into crows and like perch himself at a variety of locations all over Marijois and just see everything like the freaking Rinnegan, like all the eyes are connected to one mind? Interesting question. What are the maximum number of crows he could turn into? Could he turn into like a giant crow? These are the questions I'm asking. I just want some answers, okay? But at any rate, yeah, I think Karasu has the best chance of escaping because he can literally poof himself into a flock of birds and then just fly away, okay? Now, Morley does have the push-push fruit, but there's maybe a limit to that because I'm assuming that's how, of course, she managed to get up to the top of the Red Line. But the thing is, like, I'm assuming they would have to go to the Red Port first and then Morley, like, phased into the Red Line and then went to the top. Maybe that's how it works. Could Morley, like, phase from the top of the Red Line all the way down to the bottom of the Red Line, which is essentially the seafloor, and then travel across the seafloor and then do that in order to get back to the Revolutionary Army command? Like, could that work? Because that just seems like a lot of stuff. You're traveling a lot of distance there with the push-push fruit. Not impossible, but it might be very difficult, okay? And then you have Lindbergh. Now, Lindbergh has, like, jetpacks and stuff, but, like, I don't know, like a steampunk jetpack maybe to escape the Red Line, but travel all the way back to Kamabaka, where the Revolutionary Army is based. I mean, that's That's a lot just from like one little jetpack, you know what I mean? So, I mean, Lindbergh and Morley might have gotten away, and they also fought against Green Bull and Fujitora, so they might be all injured as well. So it might be possible Karasu managed to get away, but then Morley and Lindbergh, Morley just created that like bunker under the ground, and then Morley and Lindbergh just hang out down there and just nursing their wounds. Morley's all bandaged up. Maybe Lindbergh lost an arm. He's making like a metal prosthetic cyborg arm or something like that, and they're stuck there right now. But I'm going to assume maybe Karasu managed to get back. So Karasu plus Karasu's lieutenant, and then Morley's lieutenant and Lindbergh's lieutenant. Okay, so that's Dragon Koala, Hack, Ivankov, Inazuma, Bello Betty, Ahiru, Karasu, and then the 3 lieutenants. Okay, so that's 11 people on the Revolutionary Army side. I didn't plan that. That's just how it happened. So you have 11 in the Revolutionary Army group, and then 11 with the Straw Hats if Yamato joins. So that's like a team of 22 people, split into 2 teams across both sides of the red line, and infiltrating Marijois like a pincer move that way. That would be really cool, okay? So, who's going to be on the distraction team and who's going to be on the stealth rescue team? All right, well, first and foremost, Luffy has to be on the distraction team. No, it's not even about that. It's about whatever team Luffy's on becomes the distraction team, because Luffy does not care about plans. He'll just charge in, gear forth, and start knocking heads. Okay, that's how Luffy does things. So, okay, who else on the Straw Hats is going to be in the distraction team? Okay, Frankie. Frankie has to be on the distraction team. No, Frankie's stealth is not... Those are not words that go together, okay? Frankie is not stealth. They'd be like, all right, I'm going to infiltrate Marijois quietly and silently. Rolls a d20. Oh, and I have a -3, so that's a nat 1. -3 to stealth. It's just, he walks in, he's like, that's Cyborg Frankie! It's like, yeah, Frankie's gonna be on the distraction side of things, okay? We also have to have Zoro on there. I mean, if it's Luffy and Zoro breaking in one side of Marijois, they're gonna have to send a lot of people. Plus, you have CP0 there, so you have Lucci that would want a rematch with Luffy, and Kaku is also there, who would definitely want a rematch with Zoro, okay? So they're both gonna head to that side, okay? Now, when it comes to Nami, she's definitely going to be stealth. Nami and Robin both going to be stealth. Usopp's going to be stealth as well. I mean, you could put him on the distraction team, but I think Usopp would do way better on the stealth team, the rescue team, so let's do that. Then Sanji. I feel like Sanji could go on either one, but I feel like it should be the monster trio going through one gate, because then it's Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, monster trio, breaking through the gate. They're gonna have to send a lot of people to, you know, manage to suppress them. Also, you want to make sure the distraction team still has to survive. You don't want them to die, and they're gonna take the brunt of the military force and the cipher pole. So you better have a lot of heavy hitters on the distraction team, okay? It's not just about like, hello there, world government, we're causing a distraction over here, look at us dance. You know, it's like, no, they are gonna be sending so much firepower to suppress them and make sure they don't get into Marijois. They have to be able to survive it, so you gotta have Luffy and Zoro and Sanji and Frankie. Chopper. Throw Chopper in the distraction team too, because Chopper is literally built for distraction when he goes into Monster Point. He can literally just go into Monster Point, grab those statues of the founders on that, like, that rock wall as you're going up the steps, and just like, just throw those damn statues over the gate, and the government's just hanging out, and just giant statues of the world's founders are just flying overhead like, oh dear God, and just crashing down. You know, Monster Point Chopper's really strong. Is he the strongest in the series? Absolutely not. I think, like, Rob Lucci could take down Monster Point Chopper pretty well, regardless of whether or not Chopper could control it. You know, but, like, in terms of causing a distraction, Monster Point Chopper's got this, okay? Just start breaking walls and stuff, right? So Chopper's going to be on the distraction team. Robin's going to be stealth. Frankie's going to be distraction. Brook has to be on the stealth team. Okay, Brook's body, his body, his skeleton, his ghost form is literally designed for that, okay? So maybe, like, Nami or Robin or somebody could, like, carry Brook's, like, skeleton as his ghost leaves and goes to infiltrate PANGAEA Castle, could literally go into the dungeons. You know, Sabo and Vivi are hanging out in the dungeons, and Brook just pops his head in. He's like, oh, yo! Oh, hello there, Sabo. How are you doing? I've never met you before. Oh, hello there. You must be Vivi. A lot of the Straw Hats have told me all about you. Oh, that's nice. Okay, well, I'm a ghost, so I'll be coming back with my body and a bunch of other people. I'll let them know where you are. Okay, hang tight. And he just phases through the wall. Sabo and Vivi are just looking at each other like, was that a fucking ghost? Is this place haunted? Vivi's the one that says it. Is that a fucking ghost? And just like, I don't know. Just like, how would He's so funny. But Brooke has to be on the stealth team. Also, Brooke can use the magical, power of music to knock people out, make people fall asleep, or make people think they're drunk or whatever. So that would be very useful. So then we get to Jinbe and Yamato, though, just for the Straw Hats. And you know what? Jinbe should go on the distraction team. Number one, because he's strong, and they're going to be facing a lot of opposition. But also, here's my reasoning for this. Jinbe, yes, he's strong, but also everybody knows who Jinbe is. The world government knows who he is. He used to be a warlord, for God's sake, and now he's a member of the Straw Hat crew, right? Everyone's going to know, the Marines and the world government especially, how dangerous Jinbe is. And so that just gives them more of an idea. Like, let me put it this way, okay? Even if the world government is not stupid, which, in terms of defending Marijois, the commanding officer, I would assume, would be Kong. Maybe it would be the Gorosei. Maybe it would be Eam. But I'm going to say it's Kong. If an army infiltrates Marijois and attacks, and somebody has to mobilize an army in order to fight back against that opposition, I'm assuming it's going to be Kong. Now, Kong is probably smart enough to know, okay, Straw Hat Luffy, Zoro, Blackfoot Sanji, this giant Yeti thing, Cyborg Frankie, and the ex-warlord Jinbe, and some revolutionaries as well, are breaking through the New World Gate. Where's Dragon at? There's some revolutionaries with them. They're obviously coming to rescue Sabo. Where's Dragon at? He might be, like, a thought in his head, like, there might be some other, like, the other side of the red line might be breached as well. But the point is, like, if you just have so much power, so many threats coming from one side, it might not even matter. It might be like, people like, oh, Sir Kong, they're destroying us out there. Luffy's turned into a giant rubber balloon thing. Zoro's like a demon. Jinbei's like punching people miles away. Like, you gotta help, man. You gotta send reinforcements. Even if Kong is like, they might infiltrate through the other side of the red port. But if there's enough stuff going on, they have to throw as much people as they can, or else they'll break in. Because Luffy is not going to be just playing distraction games up at the entrance. He's going to want to break through the gate, run across the travel vaders, break through the other gate. He's going to be trying to get into Castle Pangaea too. Their group's going to be more direct about it, causing as much chaos as possible. The stealth group from the other side is going to do that too, but way more, not as loud and bombastic, but they're trying to get into the castle. So even if Kong or whoever's in charge thinks that might happen, he might not have the manpower to spare. So it's like just going to have to take a risk here, right? Okay. So that's why that's the case. And then the reason Yamato is going to go on the stealth team is because no one knows who Yamato is, right? Yamato's more of an unknown factor here because Yamato, I mean, there might be rumors in the world. Maybe Kaido has a child, but they've never seen Yamato because she, spent her whole life in Onigashima, with the handcuffs and everything. She could not leave. Also, she wears a mask most of the time, and the whole thing with Odin, So the idea is that even if there were pictures or images or a poster of her or whatever, it wouldn't be what she really looks like. So that would be actually something really important because if Yamato ran into a world government worker or something, then he was like, I don't know who you are, whatever. And also Yamato's super strong as well. So that would be like, the bodyguard for the stealth group a little bit, right? To make up for their lack of like overall strength. But that's not going to be a big deal because that's just the Straw Hats. Okay, so we have Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Chopper, Frankie, and Jinbe on distraction team. So that's 6 of them. And then we have Nami, Robin, Brooke, Yamato, and Usopp on stealth. Okay? And so that's 5 of them, all right? Then we have the revolutionaries. I think Dragon, Koala, and Hack are all going to be on the stealth side of things because Dragon might have actually been to Marijois before. His name is Dragon. There's a popular theory maybe he used to be a celestial dragon, or maybe not if he was a celestial dragon, maybe his wife was, and maybe they've been to Marijois before, so maybe he knows the layout fairly well, and he's good at infiltration. He can wear a disguise. He gets around. Koala and Hack also, they have to be on the stealth team, the rescue team, because they want to rescue Sabo, their friend. I'm putting Ivankov and Inazuma on the distraction team because if you want a distraction, Ivankov, face growth synthesis. Like, sir, a giant face is attacking us from the New World side of the Red Port. Okay, so yeah, and then also Inazuma has the Choki no Mi. Inazuma can throw up like batterments and like walls to like block the invading forces. Like the guards are coming out with spears and swords and Cypher Pole's coming. Inazuma can throw up walls and stuff, and Ivankov can fight. you know, Galaxy Wink, Hell Wink, whatever. Bello, Betty, and Ahiru are going to be on the stealth side. We'll get back to them in a second. Something very, very critical is going to happen with Bello Betty's ability. And then Karasu, with his ability, stealth is like his whole thing. He literally just turns into a murder of crows and just hangs out around Marijois, giving crucial like updates to like, you know, there's reinforcements for the government army coming from this street. Watch out, distraction team. There are some Cypherpole agents coming from this direction. You know, if he can literally turn into a flock of birds, a murder of crows, hang out and watch from a bunch of different angles and relay that information back, that's insane. He's his own surveillance network basically. That's mobile. That's awesome. Also, his lieutenant, as well as Morley's lieutenant and Lindbergh's lieutenant, maybe they can all be on the distraction side just to add some more Revolutionary Army presence over there. That would be useful, absolutely, right? So that's what I'm going with right now in terms of the general layout of stealth and then the distraction crew. Both of them have the same objective, to break into Castle PANGAEA, rescue Sabo. Okay, and so that plays to Luffy's strengths, and I guess really dividing their power big time, and then Dragon and everybody else can sneak in. Now, and I realize this video is already pretty long, so we're definitely going to have to do a third part now, but as for Bello Betty's ability, though, the Cheer fruit, okay, we saw how effective that was at the Elusia Kingdom when Peachbeard was attacking to rally the citizens together to fight back for their own country, right? Okay, well, there's an entire group of slaves underneath Marijois. There's probably some in the dungeons, then there's ones that are like helping the Travelators work. The slaves do reside in the domain of the gods because the Celestial Dragons don't do anything, so they want everything taken care of themselves by the slaves. So the slaves obviously take care of all that stuff for them, like draw their baths and make their food and everything like that. So there's slaves all over Marijois, though. But if they can find like maybe a big room where most of the slaves are kept or whatever, and then the Celestial Dragons and then the Revolutionary Army and the Straw Hats that are the stealth team break in, break all of their chains, and then Bello Betty uses her Cheer fruit, you know, fight for freedom, rise up above tyranny, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then the slaves, even though they might be malnourished and dehydrated or whatever, the adrenaline boost they would get from the Cheer fruit would give them the energy to fight. So it's like, even though they haven't eaten in forever, their food is very minimal, they'd be like, it's like that, they're able to suppress the hunger. And we also saw it's not just a psychological thing, we also saw the muscles bulging from the citizens. So it's like it makes them temporarily physically stronger, okay, and added more stamina and stuff, and just like, yeah, let's do this, yeah! And so all the slaves break free, and they're ready to fight, and then boom, you have an army now. You might have an army literally breaking out of the dungeons of PANGAEA Castle into the castle itself at the same time Luffy and Zoro burst into the front door and just be like, where's Sabo? Now, I'm making this sound simpler than it is. Cypherpole is ridiculously strong. Cypherpole 0 is insanely strong. Not just Lucci, not just Kaku. Remember, it was mentioned the masked members are the strongest. And we saw how powerful they were in the last chapter, okay? They're insanely tough, okay? So, yeah, Lucci might fight Luffy again. Kaku might fight Zoro again. We might have Jabra, Kumadori, Khalifa. They might all still be Fukuro. They might all be members of CP0 right now. But then you have the masked members that are even maybe stronger than them in terms of physical toughness and things. If Kong is there. If Kong is just like, all right, I'm going to wait at the front door, and Kong is just there at the front door of PANGAEA Castle, I'm just like, you're not getting in. That's why we got to have Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbe. We got to have the whole 9 yard. Ivankov. We got to have a lot of strong customers coming to that front door, because if Kong is the one they have to get through, holy shit, right? That's going to be tough. You know, he's on in years. We don't know that much about Kong, but he used to be the Fleet Admiral. He was the Fleet Admiral during Roger's time. That guy is tough as nails, I'll tell you that much. So that's going to be hard to get through him. And then the Cypherpole. It's going to be difficult, but, you know, you have a lot of people working together. You know, it might be Zoro, Luffy, and Sanji all fight against Kong while Jinbe knocks down the front door. Something like that, right? And then Dragon and the others might be able to figure out some other way to infiltrate in from underneath PANGAEA Castle. Maybe if Morley and Lindbergh team up with them at that point, Morley can use her abilities. Lindbergh has his jetpacks, his steampunk inventions, maybe to rocket them to the roof and go down from above. Something along those lines, right? And so the infiltration to PANGAEA Castle, though, let's just assume has succeeded, okay? And they have the slaves all fighting for their freedom to get out of there. They might run into Arlong, because I have a theory maybe Arlong got taken and got thrown in Marijois to be a prisoner there. Maybe Nami might run into... How crazy would it be if Nami ran into, like, one of the slaves' quarters, and it was like there was, like, a big room where Bello Betty did her Cheer fruit, but then there were, like, individual cells for particularly strong slaves that they don't, you know, they're afraid that might actually break out. And so one of those slaves is Arlong. And then Nami sees him like behind a wall or something, kind of like when Luffy saw Crocodile and Impel Down. And, you know, I wonder how Arlong would act. I wonder how he would act if he saw Nami again. Would Arlong like ask for her help? Would he stoop that low to asking a mere human for help? He's like, hey, no, or would he try to like psychologically manipulate her? You're just like, Nami, you came to rescue me. Yeah, you know I'm the one that is in charge of you and stuff like that. You know, you're a good minion. You know, unlock this cage and let me out. You know, of course, Nami would just be like, you know, screw you, I'm not doing that. You know, or what would happen? Would Nami let him go or just leave him in the cell? I mean, how would that happen? You know. Because, you know, yeah, it completely messed up her life, and Arlong killed Bellemere. But, you know, he would be helpful if he was going to fight against, at this point, if they were trying to rescue everybody, trying to help fight back. Hack would be there as well, and Hack is a fishman, so maybe Hack has a, you know, at least knows Arlong. Maybe he could talk to him or something. And just like, hey, if you want to get out of here just to get out of here, that's fine. Just take out as many guards as you can with you on the way out. We're not going to force you to fight with us. We just ask you don't hinder our operation. Don't try to get in our way. Just get out of here if you want to get out of here, but, you know, just, you know, don't cause any trouble. And maybe let him out of the cage. Or they just leave him in there. Like, Nami's just like, I'm not letting you out. And then she just walks away. And Arlong's like, And then that's it. That could be a thing, too. Anyway, so now we have an army of slaves that are empowered by the Cheer Cheer fruit in the dungeons, of course. And then, and speaking of the dungeons, yes, we have, like, that freezer room with the hat in it. I feel like that's under lock and key. Like, that's, like, such a special room that Eam goes into. It's not the kind of room that you can just, like, break down or just sneak into. It's probably a really heavily reinforced, like vault, basically. So, stumbling up, I mean, they might stumble upon the door to it if they're down there, and they might free Sabo and Vivi or whoever else is down there, and they might see this giant vault, but it's just like there's no point in breaking through it, and there's nothing we don't need to go in there. There's nothing in there that we need. We rescued Sabo, we rescued Vivi. Let's just get the hell out of here. But it's like, interesting. There's a giant vault down there. I don't know what that is, but I don't think they would run into that room, right? And so now, though, we get to the point of the video that this was supposed to be originally, like, who's gonna fight against who? Like, Zoro against Samurai Gandhi of the Gorosei. The Gorosei are gonna get involved. Eam's gonna make his appearance. Well, I'm gonna cut this here, and we'll cut back to the final part of this. So we had the entry, and I guess the infiltration, and then this was like the initial battle, the fight for PANGAEA Castle, the fight to PANGAEA Castle. And then we have the final part of this, part 3, which will be the final battle. You know, the Gorosei, Eam-sama. Will Robin encounter Eam? Will the Straw Hats fight the Gorosei? Will Dragon reveal his storied past? We'll talk about that stuff next time, part 3. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. This will be Tekking and Barry. Oh, yeah, and then the whole thing with the Gumu Gumu no Mi. We'll be talking about that next time. Signing out. Later.